What's up, YouTube? How y'all guys been? Man, we been grinding, hustling, doing all that stuff. Today I am coming with you with a book that was recommended to me by a very good YouTuber. His name is Taekwondo. You might have heard of him. He's a dating coach, that sorts. He said he read this book. Is very, very, very good, and it impacted his whole life. It is called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Just from looking at this book, it looks kind of interesting already. It talks about how for those who want power, they have to watch power or want to arm themselves against power. It's kind of impactful as it is already. I'm going to be doing a whole series on this. I'm going to be reading each chapter. It's probably going to be its own video itself, but if not, we're going to probably do like two chapters per video. It's going to be great. Be real. I'm going to read your synopsis for right now. The feeling of having no power over people and events is generally unbearable to us. When we feel helpless, we feel miserable. No one wants less power. Everyone wants more. In the world today, however, it is dangerous to seem too power hungry. Hold on, I'm turning the music down. To be overt with your power moves, we have to seem fair and decent. So we need to be subtle, congressional yet cunning, democratic yet devious. In this game of constant duplicity, most resembles the power dynamic that existed in the scheming world of old aristocratic court. Constant duplicity. Throughout history, a court has always formed itself around a person in power. A king, emperor, queen, their leader. The courtiers who filled the court were especially delicate position. They had to serve their masters, but if they seemed befallen, if they carried favor too obviously, the other courtiers around them might notice and would act against them. Even skilled courtiers capable of such subtlety still had to protect themselves from their fellow courtiers who at all moments were scheming to push them aside. So from what I just read, by the way, this is the preface. This is before the book even starts. But from what I just read, he just said you will use these laws of power to protect yourself. Protect yourself or hold your power up above everyone else's. So if you want to feel powerful, feel impactful, you need to use these laws. Like how he's saying how to keep himself from, getting hurt, getting exploited by his other courtiers. He used his power. Attempts to win the master's favor then had to be subtle. Oh wait, I'll read it. Meanwhile, the court was supposed to represent the height of civilization and refinement. Violent or overt power moves were frowned upon. Courtiers would work silently and secretly against any among them who would use force. Let's read that again. Violent or overt power moves were frowned upon. Courtiers would work silently and secretly against any among them who used force. This was the courtier's dilemma. Now peep that. When you're making power moves, you don't want to make them in the open, make them known to everybody. Because if everybody knows the power moves you're making, people will make those try to make moves against you, try to make you lose those moves. This can be seen in almost all factors of life, to be real. Let's say well, easiest when dating. You know, everybody saying they can't mess with this girl. Oh, she not one of them. She not going. All that shit. Yeah. But shit, you start trying to make a power move. You try to go get with her. You know, you ain't about to do this shit. Don't do. If you do this shit in the open, all them niggas be like, gonna start talking to ass, talking about some. You fuck with this nigga. You fuck with this nigga. Oh, you start talking to old dude. She ain't gonna go with the shit. She gonna try to turn your ass down. But, if you move in silence, you don't say nothing. Y'all can be, you know, on a one-on-one scale like this. Ain't nobody gotta know. You're gonna be in a powerful position without anybody realizing it. That's the God for honest truth. While appearing the very paragon of elegance, they had to outwit and thwart their own opponents in the subtlest of ways. I really like this. The successful courtier learned over time to make all his moves indirect. If he stabbed an opponent in the back, it was with a velvet glove in his hand and the sweetest of smiles on his face. Instead of using coercion or outright treachery, the perfect courtier got his way through seduction, charm, deception, and subtle strategy. Always planning several moves ahead. Life in the court was a never-ending game, and that required constant vigilance and tactical thinking. It was a civilized war. Today, we face a similar paradox to that of the courtier. Everything must appear civilized, decent, democratic, and fair. But if we play by those rules too strictly, if we take them too literally, we are crushed by those around us who are not so foolish as the great Renaissance diplomat and courtier Niccolo Machiavelli. I don't know how to say this shit. Don't at me if I said this shit wrong. Wrote, any man who tries to be good at all time is bound to come to ruin against the great number who are not good. The court imagined itself the pinnacle of refinement. But underneath its glittering surface, a cauldron of dark emotions, greed, envy, hatred, boiled and simmered. Our world today similarly imagines itself the pinnacle of fairness, yet the same ugly emotions still stir within us, as they have forever. The game is the same. Outwardly, you must seem to respect the necessities, but inwardly, unless you are a fool, you must learn quickly to be prudent, and do so as Napoleon advised. Place your iron hand inside the velvet glove. If, like the courtier of times gone by, you can master the arts of indirection, learn to seduce, charm, deceive, and subtly outmove your opponents, you will attain the heights of power. You will be able to make people bend to your will without realizing what you have done. And if they do realize what you have done, they will neither resent nor resist you. Honestly, still gonna use your power to the point where people want you to use them. They will gladly give up to your cause. That you're so powerful, you're so impactful upon these people's lives. I'm reading the side quote. Courts are unquestionably the seats of politeness and good breeding. Were they not so, they would not be able to be seats of slaughter and desolation. Those who now smile upon and embrace would affront and stab each other, if manners did not interpose. He's basically saying that they would indirectly stab each other in the back, do dirty deeds, but look somebody in the face and smile. That's that's amazing. That's crazy. Moving in the shadows and such. To some people, the notion of consciously playing power games, no matter how indirect, seems evil, asocial, a relic of the past. They believe they can opt out of the game by behaving in ways that have nothing to do with power. You must beware of such people, for while they express such opinions outwardly, they often are among the most adept players at power. They utilize strategies that cleverly disguise the nature of manipulation involved. These types of, for example, they will often display their weakness and lack of power as a kind of mortal virtue. But true powerlessness, any motive, but true powerlessness without any motive of self-interest will not publicize its weaknesses to gain sympathy or respect. Making a show of one's weaknesses is actually a very effective strategy and subtle and deceptive in the game of power. See Law 22 for the surrender tactic. This is crazy. He just giving us he just gave us a strategy off the rip. Like this before the book even started, talking about giving up your weaknesses, your flaws, so you can gain more trust in the people, so they will be easier to. Holy shit! So it'll be easier to manipulate. Oh my god, this is crazy. Another strategy is of the supposed non-player who is to demand equality in every area of life. Everyone must be treated alike, whatever their status and strength. But if to avoid the taint power, you must attempt to treat everyone equally and fairly. If you confront the problem with that some different people do not you will confront the problem that some people do not do certain things better than others. Treating people equally means ignoring the differences and elevating the less skillful and suppressing those who excel. Again, many of those who behave this way are actually deploying another power strategy. Redistributing people's rewards in a way that they actually determine. Yet another way of avoiding the game will be perfect honesty and straightforwardness. Since one of the main techniques of those who seek power is deceit and secrecy, but being perfectly honest will inevitably hurt and insult a great many people. Some of them who will choose to injure you in return. No one will see your honesty statement as completely objective and free of some personal motivation. They will be right. In truth, the use of honesty is indeed a power strategy, intended to convince people of one's good, noble, good-hearted, honest, and selfless character. This is a form of persuasion, even a subtle form of cohesion. I'm a nigga, bro. I can't say coercion. God damn it. Coercion. I believe that this last paragraph really just gave us another one, talking about how you can be honest, but more likely people will try to stab you in your back for being honest. People will try to go against you for saying that honesty, because you're trying to display yourself in this good, perfect light. When really it's a subtle form, very, very subtle form of coercion, to make people see you in that light, so they probably won't be able to doubt you. If you always said these stuff truthfully, how will they? Why would they not believe me? Why would they not believe me now? You feel me? And finally, those who claim to be non-players may affect an air of naivety to protect themselves from the accusation that they are after power. Beware again, For, however, the appearance of naivety can be an effective means of deceit. See Law 21, seem numbered in your mark. And even general naivety is not free of snares of power. Children may be naive in many ways, but they often act from an elemental need to gain control over the world. Over those around them. Children suffer greatly from feeling powerless in the adult world, and they may use any means available to get their ways. Generally, innocent people may be playing for power, and often are horribly effective at the game, since they are not hindered by reflection. Once again, those who make a show or display innocence are the least of innocent of all. So what they're saying is, you can seem naive, you can seem pure, but those of them who, they just look innocent, they look like they haven't did anything in their life, those are the people who are really making power moves. Those are the people who are moving quietly and decisively. You might see them, let's say it's that quiet kid in the front of the class. That's the person you're gonna find out is the one person that's gonna be doing the most. He gonna be making money. He gonna be selling shit. He'll be doing all that wild shit. You just don't ever know about it, cause he moves in silence. That's what y'all gotta realize. Most people they be open with their stuff. People want to post on social media and stuff. If you put all your business out there, you're only hurting yourself, really. Because eventually it's going to catch back up with you. Oh, he was moving like this. He was doing all this stuff. You're going to get caught up, bruh. Move in silence. Don't nobody have to know. You can recognize the supposed non-players by they flaunt their mortal qualities, their pride, their exquisite sense of justice. But since all of us hunger for power, and almost all of our actions are aimed at gaining it, the non-players are merely throwing dust in our eyes, distracting us from their power plays with their air of mortal superiority. If you observe them closely, you will see, in fact, that they are often the ones most skillful at indirect manipulation, even if some of them practice it unconsciously. And they greatly resent any publicizing of the tactics they use every day. If the world is like a giant scheming court, then we are trapped inside of it. There is no use in it trying to opt out of the game. It will only render you powerless, and powerlessness will make you miserable. Instead of struggling against the inevitable, instead of arguing, whining, and feeling guilty, it is far better to excel at power. In fact, the better you are at dealing with power, the better friend, lover, wife, and person you become. The following will route the perfect courtier, and you will learn to make others feel better about themselves, becoming a source of pleasure to them. They will grow dependent upon your abilities, distress of your own presence. By mastering the 48 laws in this book, you will spare others the pain that comes from bungling with power, by playing with fire without knowing its properties. If the game of power is inescapable, it's better to be an artist than a denier or bungler. Basically, he just said is, instead of just someone flopping through life, trying to make power moves, but you can't. You don't know how the game works. I'd rather be a master, have the wisdom to know what I'm doing, how to do it, how to move around, how I keep on making these plays, how to make this play. It's the fact of knowing. If you know what you're doing, there's no way you can mess it up. There's no way you can fail. You have to be the right person in the right place at the right time. Learning the game of power requires a certain way of looking at the world, a shifting of perspective. It takes effort and years of practice for such for much of the game had it not come naturally. Many basic skills are required, and once you master these skills, you'll be able to apply the laws of power more easily. You'll see it in the world, basically. The most important of these skills and power crucial foundation is the ability to master your emotions. An emotional response is to a situation is the single greatest barrier to power. A mistake that will cost you more than temporary satisfaction. You may gain by expressing your feelings. Emotions cloud reasoning. And if you cannot see the situation clearly, you cannot prepare for and respond to it without any degree of control. What he just said is, well, let me keep on reading. Anger is the most destructive of all emotional responses, for it clouds your vision the most. It also has a ripple effect that invariably makes the situation less controllable and heightens your enemy's resolve. If you are trying to destroy an enemy who has hurt you, far better to keep him off guard by feigning friendliness than showing your anger. Love and affection. Well, let me go over what we just said. He said, your emotions, by being emotional, getting out of your logic, and going into feelings, as people say, that's what people be calling feminine, but I don't believe it's feminine because men do it too. Just not as much. But getting into your emotions, it makes you weak. It makes you open for somebody to make a play on you. For somebody makes a tactical inversion on you. Because when you're emotional, you're not right in the mind. You're weak. And somebody can take advantage of that. Somebody can make a power move on you. That's why people be trying to, it's sorts. Let's say you're grieving somebody. Somebody will try to post their ideas, their thoughts in your mind. Try to make you, let's say you're in this weakened state and they realize they could probably take advantage of you. As such, they could probably take advantage of this weakness and put something in your mind. Make you fall off your stool. They see that the chair is leaning, they probably could just tip over the side. You gotta peep that stuff. Love and affection are also potentially destructive. If they in that they blind you, just often serving interests of those whom you least suspect of the playing a power game. You cannot repress anger or love or avoiding feeling them. You should not try, but you should be careful about those who you express them, and more importantly, you should never influence your plans and strategies in any way. Move in silence. Related to mastering your emotions is the ability to distance yourself. Wait. Related to mastering your emotions is the ability to distance yourself from the present moment and think objectively about the past, future. Like Janus, the double-faced Roman deity, the guardian of all gates and doorways. You must be able to look in both directions at once. The better it is to handle danger from wherever it comes. Such is the face you must create for yourself. One face looking continuously to the future, the other one looking at the past. For the future, the motto is, no day is unalert. Nothing should catch you by surprise because you are continuously imagining problems before they arise. Instead of spending your time dreaming of your plan's happy ending, you should instead work on calculating every possible prematuration and every pitfall that might emerge from it. The further you see, the more steps ahead you can plan, and the more powerful you become. Ooh, that's a banger too. Tommy saying that a whole bunch in his YouTube video. I'm gonna link him in the description. Go subscribe. He's a dating coach. He's amazing at this. Amazing at this game. But from what I just read, it said you are constantly preparing yourself for what comes in. You don't just dream about the end point, the end result. You dream about what's happening. How can I take steps and precaution to what's happening? Instead of just looking at the beautiful end, which is, oh, I'm gonna be happy, I'm gonna be healthy, we don't be living together forever. Nah, you gotta dream about how to get there. How am I gonna get there? What if this happens? What if that happens? What am I gonna do? If you don't have a plan, you're just gonna be stuck in one place. You're not gonna have any power. You're just gonna be sliding through the downfall, sliding through your life. You don't want that to happen. You want to be on a constant rise. The other face of Janice was constant to the past, though not to remember his past hurts or bear grudges. That thing will only curb your power. Half the game is learning how to forget those events in the past that eat away at you and cloud your reason. The real purpose of looking backwards, the glancing eye, is to educate yourself constantly. You look at the past to learn from those who came before you. Many of the historical examples in this book will help you greatly help that process. Then, having looked to the past, you can look closer at the hand into your actions of those of your friends. This is the most vital school you can learn from because it comes from personal experience. That's some more heat. He wants you to look at your past to better understand how this problem is hurting you, how this problem is helping you. Other people have been through these situations you're going through. You're not alone. So you're saying, look in the past, look at these other people's examples, and read that. You begin examining mistakes you have made in the past. The ones that come most grievously held you back. You analyze them in terms of the 48 laws of powers, and you extract from them a lesson, an oath. I shall never repeat such a mistake. I shall never fall into such trap again. And if you evaluate and observe yourself in this way, you can learn to break the patterns of the past. An immensely valuable skill. Power requires the ability to play with appearances. To this end, you must learn to wear many masks and keep a bag full of deceptive tricks. Deception and masquerade should not be seen as ugly or immoral. All human interactions require deception on many levels. And in some ways, what separates Mist and Ennia's... God damn, my throat hurts. And Ennia's Mahabharata cycle in the Eastern Europe epic of Gilgamesh is the privilege of the gods, who use deceptive arts. A great man, Odysseus, for example, was judged by his ability to rival the craftiness of the gods, stealing some of their divine power while matching them in wits and deception. Deception is a developed art of civilization and the most potent weapon in the game of power. You cannot succeed at deception unless you make a somewhat distant approach to yourself. Unless you be many different people wearing a mask that day, and a moment require such flexible approach to all appearances, including your own, you lose a lot of the inward heaviness that holds people down. I'll read that again. You cannot succeed at deception unless you make a somewhat distant approach to yourself. Unless you can be many different people wearing the same mask that day, and the moment require with such flexible approach to all appearances, including your own, you lose a lot up towards the heaviness that holds people down. Make your face as malleable as the actors. Work to conceal your intentions from others. Practice luring people into traps. Playing with appearances, mastering arts of deception are among the aesthetic pleasures of life. They also hold key components to the acquisition of power. God damn. God damn, my throat dry. God damn, my throat dry. I need some water. Holy shit. But basically, what that just said was you want to mask your true intentions. You don't want to seem open about what you're actually trying to do. You want to seem like a mystery. They don't know what your true intentions are. I believe you probably should reveal your intentions after you're done. When you completed your grand scheme, your grand machination, you reveal what you were trying to do, or really what you did. That's what I got out of this. If deception is the most potent power in your arsenal, then patience in all things is your crucial shield. Patience will protect you from making, in all things, making moronic blunders. Like mastering your emotions, patience is a skill. It does not come naturally. But nothing about power is natural. Power is the supreme virtue of the gods, who have nothing but time. Everything is good. Everything good will happen. The grass will grow again. And if you give time, see several steps in the future. If you give it time, it will see 7 steps in the future. Impatience, on the other hand, only makes you look weak. This is the principle impediment of power. Being impatient is a weakness. Things take time. You have to wait. But if you're impatient, you lose out on things. Okay. Power is essentially immoral, and one of the most important things to acquire is the ability to see circumstances rather than good and evil. Power is a game. This cannot be repeated too often, and in games, you do not judge your opponents by their intentions, but by the effect of their actions. You measure their strategy and their power by what you can see and feel. How often are someone's intentions made the issue to only cloud and deceive? What does it matter if the other player, your friend or rival, intended good things and had only your interest at heart? If the effects of his actions lead to such ruin and confusion, it is only natural for people to cover up their actions with all sorts of justifications, always assuming that they have acted out of goodness. You must learn to inwardly laugh each time you hear this, and never get caught up in gaining on someone's intentions and actions through the moral set of judgments that are really an excuse for accumulation of power. Shit. God damn. Ooh. Half of your mastery power comes from what you do and do not do. What you do what you do not allow yourself to get dragged into. For this skill, you must learn to judge all things by what they cost you. As Nietzsche Wolf wrote, the value of a thing sometimes lies not in what one attains with it, but in many ways what one pays for it, what it cost us. Perhaps you will attain your goal, and a worthy goal at all, but at what price? Apply the standard to everything, including whether to collaborate with other people or come to their aid in the end. Life is short, opportunities are few, and you only have so much energy to draw on. And in this sense, time is an important consideration, as many others. Never waste valuable time or mental peace of mind on the affairs of others. That is too high a price to pay. you're playing a game of you're misleading people. In short, you're trying to make them go down a rabbit hole that's completely different than what you're trying to do. You show you you're trying to read their actions, not what they're saying. They can say all they want to. You read their actions, and then someone asks of you something. You ask yourself, what will it cost me? What am I losing out of this instead of what I'm gaining? Because you can gain the rags and riches of the world, but you'll gain your death. In short, is that really worth all the money in the world to be famous if I'm dead? No. Power is a social game. To learn it and master it, you must develop the ability to study and understand people. As the great 19th century thinker and courtier Bastar Ghassan wrote, many people spend time studying the properties of animals or herbs. How much more important it will be to study those people with whom we must live or die. To be a master player, you must be a master psychologist. You must recognize the motivations and see through the cloud of dust which people surround themselves and their actions. An understanding of people's hidden motives is the single greatest piece of knowledge you can have in acquiring power. It opens up endless possibilities of deception, seduction, and manipulation. Shit. My throat dry as hell. People are infinite complexity. You can spend a lifetime watching them without ever fully understanding them. So it's all the more important that you begin your education now. By doing so, you must keep one principle in mind. Never discriminate as to whom you study and whom you trust. Never trust anyone completely and study everyone, including friends and loved ones. Finally, you must you must learn to always take indirect routes of power. Disguise your cunning like a billiard ball that caroms several times before it hits its target. Your moves must be planned, developed, and at least observed in the least obvious way. By training yourself to be indirect, you can thrive in a modern court, appearing the paragon of decency, while being a consummate manipulator. Consider the 48 Laws of Power, a kind of handbook on the arts of indirection. The laws are based on the writings of men and women who have studied and mastered the game of power. These writings span a period of more than 3,000 years and were created in civilizations such as ancient China and Renaissance Italy, and yet they share common threads and themes, together hinting at an essence of power that has yet to be fully articulated. The 48 Laws of Power are the distillation of accumulated wisdoms gathered from the writings of most illustrious strategists Sun Tzu, Clausewitz Statement, Bismarck and Talleyrand Courtiers, Calais Guillon, Glissant Seducers, Neon de Lysentos, Castanova, Con Artists, Yellow Kid Whale in History. The laws have a simple premise. Certain actions almost always increase one's power, observance of the law, while the others decrease it and even ruin it, the progression of the law. These progressions and observances are illustrated by historic examples. These laws are timeless and definitive. The 48 Laws of Powers can be used in several ways. By reading the book straight through, you can learn about power in general. Though several laws may not pertain to your life directly, in time, you will probably find that all of them have some application, and that in the fact that they are interrelated. By getting the overview of the entire subject, you will best control your immediate affairs. Through reading of the book, you will inspire thinking and reevaluation long after you finish it. The book has been designed for browsing and examining the law that seems at the particular moment most pertinent to you. Say you are experiencing problems with a superior and cannot understand, while your efforts have not led to more gratitude or promotion. Several laws specifically address the master underlying relationship. You almost certainly transgressing one of them. While browsing the initial paragraphs of the 48 laws in its element in the table of contents, you can identify the pertinent law. Finally, the book can be browsed through and picked apart for entertainment, for an enjoyable ride through the foibles and great deeds of our predecessors and powers. A warning, however, to those who use the book for this purpose: it may be better to turn back. Power is endlessly seductive and deceptive in its own way. It is a labyrinth. Your mind becomes consumed with solving its infinite problems, and soon you realize how pleasantly you have lost you become. In other words, it becomes amusing by taking it seriously. Do not be frivolous with such a critical matter. The gods frown upon those on the frivolous. They give ultimate satisfaction to those who study and reflect, and punish those who skim the surfaces looking for a good time. He wants you to use these laws to solve your machinations of life, and not to just ponder and think infinitely about infinite problems. He'd rather you solve your own problems in your own life than actually just use these to really cause mayhem, to satisfy one's pleasure or emotion. Honestly, I believe we will enjoy this book. That was the pregame to this book. It took me literally an hour just to read that to y'all. Robert Greene, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video on the 48 Laws of Power. Peace.